Hello, how is everybody doing this afternoon, noon, morning or afternoon, depending, I guess, on where you live, right? This is what I get for hosting a live exactly at noon. I can't figure out if I'm supposed to say good morning or good afternoon. So I hope you're all doing well. It looks like everything is running as it should, and we already have Monica saying good morning. Good morning, Monica. Um, let's see, we are halfway through March already. I'm not really sure how that happened. So, yeah. Oh my goodness. It is still chilly here. It's really not fair, dudes. It's not. It's cold here. But I have my crochet along cape here that I can put on. I am all done with my crochet along cape from February. We had said that the February crochet along was going to kind of run into March, right? So here we go. My February crochet along cape. And let's see. Oh, yeah, this should be everything going well over here. And there we go. All right, so we have the February crochet along cape. And here we go. Nice and hooded and cabled because it is the hooded cabled cape. All right, and that is, ta-da! So this is the second one that I made of this pattern. The first one was that red and black one back there. That was in the original photos. And this is the second one. This one I made a little bit longer, not a whole lot longer, but a little bit longer. And you can see I added a little faux fur trim on here and on the hood. And this is, oh, well, now I can't remember the name of it's We Crochet Knit Picks yarn. So crochet.com is where you go to find it. Fable Fur, that's what it's called, Fable Fur. I knew the name. I just, had brain fry for a moment there. So this is the Fable Fur from crochet.com or from Knit Picks. And then the rest of the yarn is the Hirschner's Worsted 8 Heathers. The Heathers is the style of the Worsted 8 yarn. The coloring is a little different because it's made like heathered as opposed to, the real solid colors. So this is from the February crochet along, and Sarah says hello, and she thinks that my cape turned out super cute. I do too. I love it. So if you are here, I'm going to share with you a couple places that you can find help with this pattern. If you are a patron with Patreon, so the Patreon is at the Foundry, is where we are on Patreon. And if you are a Patreon patron, then you can find the tips and tutorial post right here. And you can, when you're on Patreon, actually, you can always look in the crochet along category, and there'll be a little list for the tips and tutorials. And when you go in there, it'll give you the link that takes you to this post. That will take you to this post so that you can get all of the tips and tutorials. There's tons of video tutorials. The other place, if you are not a Patreon patron, you can find it here. And actually, let me go ahead and let's see about opening it up. I'm not entirely sure. My internet is not fond of doing the live and sharing the screen. It's worse if I have guests. If I have a guest, I cannot also share a different screen, unfortunately. But it doesn't do me very good to share this, to hit the screen share image if I don't first actually choose which screen to share. Let's see, we want the entire screen. I know. I should have done this already. One day, guys. Here we go. We're actually going to do this one. So here it is on Jessie at Home, and there's the link underneath. You can go to jessieathome.com, and you can always just type in hooded cabled cape, and you should be able to, it should be one of the ones that pops up here. And this is open to anybody. You do not have to be a Patreon patron to see this tips and tutorials post, okay? You can, yes, you can find I did link the pattern. So you can find the pattern for free online with ads here, okay? So it's free online with ads. It's an ad-supported pattern. Or if you want it ad free, you can buy the PDF here. So again, I have both of those posts. You can do the ad supported pattern for free online here, or you can do the ad free PDF that you have to pay for here. So you just decide, do you want my advertisers to pay for it, or do you want to pay for it? You make your choice. All right. So there is that. And I need to delete this little sentence, because this little paragraph, because it is done. I thought I deleted it, but I apparently did not. So this post is done now. And you can see I have the table of contents because there are so many videos. In order for them to work really well on the site and for you to just be able to go to what you want, they're broken down into like 10-minute videos. So you see if you're right-handed or you're left-handed, and then you find the section you're working on, and you just click on it, and it'll pop you to that section, okay? If you click on that. I am going to add a back to top thing on Jessie at Home. I have an app that will do that. I just keep forgetting to add it on. So as you can see, it starts off by giving you all sorts of tips on how to adjust this pattern. So what to do to adjust for gauge. If your gauge is different than mine, you can either fix it so that your gauge is the same as mine, or, maybe your gauge is different than mine because you're using a lighter weight yarn. All right, so like we had Dory has been making this, and I used the original pattern, used Lion Brand Scarfy, which is a chunky yarn. It's the lower end of chunky, but it is a chunky yarn, a size, what is that, 5. And Dory used, I want to say she used Simply Soft, which is, I can't remember if they consider it a DK yarn, which would be a 3, or a worsted weight, which would be a 4. I think they call it a worsted weight, which is a 4, but it really is on that border between 3 and 4, a little closer to a 3. I would call it a DK weight. So because of that, if she had just changed her hook size until her gauge was the same as mine, she'd have very loose stitches and it wouldn't look good. So this little thing is about what to do to adjust for gauge. You can either fix it so it's the same as mine, as is in the pattern, or we can have you customize, do the same thing that we're doing here, which is customize for your size. So this is just really quickly, it says basically either, fix it or follow the instructions below for customizing for your size. So when you're customizing for your size, first you have to find out what your gauge is, right? So I tell you how to do that, and how to find the numbers you need. And I explain this, oh my goodness, hiccups, for both inches and centimeters, okay? I'm trying to make sure that I have helpful information for everybody, okay? So I see some of you have comments, and I will pop over to those in a minute. Then you need to decide what you want your hood width to be. And I believe we talked about that last week on how to decide, this is the hood width. All right, we talked about how to kind of get that last week. And, oh, and look, I put phi instead of if. So when I delete that paragraph that says this post isn't done yet, I need to also fix phi so that it says if. I do have spell check on in here, but I think sometimes I get so used to ignoring where it's like underlining stitches and stuff that I missed that. And then once you have determined your hood width, first you have figured out what your actual gauge is, and you've determined your hood width, you use those things to alter your pattern. And I explained to you how to do all of that. And I use the numbers that we kind of made up here in in here, but if you read it all, you'll be able to do your own numbers, okay? And then I explain how to how to take those numbers that you have found to get your hood to the right size. So you can see here I have row 1 and 2 written out, and I had them first with the original pattern numbers, and I crossed out the original pattern numbers and put in the new numbers so you could really understand, hopefully, that's my goal here, you can really understand what's going on. Then for the neck, I explained to you how to adjust the neck measurements, okay? And it's going to be based on once you do the repeats in row 1, if you had any extra stitches. And then for the cape, you have to take your final stitch count, okay? And then you just, because you've been, earlier on, you were adding in 8s, you take your final stitch count, which is going to be an odd number, and you keep subtracting 8 until you get to one of these 4 numbers. You'll either be able to get down to 63, 65, 67, or 69, and just keep track of how many times you subtract 8. You might have to subtract 8 once, you might have to subtract 8 5 times. However many times you had to subtract 8, write down that number, and then you have to adjust row 1 depending on which number you got, 63, 65, 67, or 69. You adjust row 1 for that, and by the time you're done, you will be able to continue the pattern without a problem, okay? Now here I have ad-free video tutorials. If you want the ad-free video tutorials, then you would need to be a Patreon patron, and you can find them again at that the site that I listed earlier, which is where you can find this post just ad-free. So you can find those ad-free videos there if you're a patron. And if you're not a patron, then you can watch them here. These videos do have some ads with them. Because again, this is the ad-supported site. You want the ad-free, then go ahead and be a patron. And here we have, as I showed you at the top, they are divided up. First, we have the right-handed, then we have the left-handed. And again, like I said before, if you're at the top here in the table of contents, you can always just choose which exact tutorial you need, okay? So if you're just crocheting along or whatever, they are in the order you would need them in. But say you went all the way through here, and then you stopped for lunch and you put everything away and you closed down your computer and you didn't pick it up again until tomorrow. When you come here tomorrow, you don't want to have to like scroll through everything to find hood row 8 and 9 for right-handed. Fine, just go to you barely scroll down at all to find the table of contents, and you go to hood rows 8 and 9. You have to click on that, and there you go, nice and easy, okay? Always my goal to make this useful and easy to navigate. And if you guys ever have any suggestions as to how I can make it more useful or easier to navigate, please let me know. If you have any problems with with reading it, with anything, I always like to be told, respectfully, obviously, when there is something that you feel I could help out with, okay? Something you feel I could maybe do a little bit better. I try to use a font that is easy to read for people with vision or reading difficulties. If you're dyslexic or you have a vision issue or whatever, I try to make sure the font and the size and everything is good for all of you. But if there's ever something that I'm missing, please go ahead and let me know. Alrighty. Now let's pop back to here, and I'm going to take off this banner because there have been quite a few comments, and I want to make sure we get to them all, especially in case any of them were questions. Monique says hello, and she thinks that probably the Karen Simply Soft is a 4, but it is, yes, it is thinner than a 4. It's listed as a 4, but it's really more of a 3. Can any level of Patreon access these helpful tips? That is a very good question, Monica. When I say you have to be a patron, if I'm saying you have to be a patron, it means you have to have paid. So any level of the paid patrons can access these tips. Okay, so there's the 3 paid tiers. There's the crocheter, the yarnist, and the artist. All right. I'm finding most people, I have yarnists and artists. I don't really have many crocheters. Most people have just decided it's that the second tier seems to be the one that I think I have one person on the very bottom tier, and then most everybody else is on the second tier, and then I have several people on the third tier. Um, so the the helpful tips for that are on the Crochet Foundry blog that have no ads, you have to be a paid patron. The helpful tips that I was just sharing with you that are on Jessie at Home, totally free because that's an ad-supported site. See, so what I'm doing here is I'm making sure that I am still getting paid for my work, right? But I'm trying to do it in such a way that you can determine that it works for anybody else's financial level. I can't think, budget. That's the word I was looking for. So that it works for your budget as well. So if your budget is such that you are not a paid patron, you can find this tutorial on Jessie at Home, and there are ads within the tutorial and there are ads within the videos. If you go ahead and you pay to be a patron, which I know you are, Monica, then what you can do is you can go over there and you'll find the link to where you can see all this information with no ads because you paid me, so I don't need to have the ads pay me. So it's just like with the pattern. You decide, do you want the advertisers to pay me or are you going to pay me? It's up to you how you want it done. Okay, let's see. Yes, so exactly, Monique. The tips are free on Jessie at Home, which is the ad-supported site. You have to be a paid patron to get the, which you are obviously, to get the ad-free version. Okay, there are some things that are only available to patrons. But when it comes to tips and tutorials for how to do my patterns, I'd like to make sure that those are available to everybody just in such a way where either my advertisers are paying me or the makers are paying me. Somebody gets to pay me. But there are some things that are available only to patrons. Those though are never going to be oh, Monica, you're a free, you're not actually, yeah, the free one isn't considered a tier. I don't really, like, when I say patron, I'm just counting the people who have paid. Usually if it's something that's in the free area of Patreon, I will say if you're a free member. So yes, as a free member, as a free member or not a member at all, you can access the Jessie at Home site, which was here. Okay, and the really easy way to do that for anybody, if it's because you can't copy and paste from the banners here, is you can go to, let me find my mouse. Okay, so if you just go to jessieathome.com, just give it a second. All right. If you need something here, Jessie at Home is going to get a little bit of TLC here. It just needs to be made a little bit more modern. It's been a while since it's had a little update. But no matter what, there will always be a way where you can search. So you can go ahead and just open up the search bar and just type in whatever pattern you need help with. Hooded, cabled, cape, abled, hooded, abled, hooded, cabled. Okay, and we're going to do the full name. All right, and then hit enter. All right, and it's going to give you some search results. So you can see here are my search results. Here's the tips and tutorials for the hooded cabled cape pattern, and then here is the actual pattern itself. All right, so you can see it's really clear that this is the tips and tutorials for the hooded cabled cape crochet pattern. Very obviously, that's what that is. Go ahead and do that. And I do my best, unless like I just had brain fry and forgot. I do my best when I put on a post like this to include a link to where you can get the pattern, which you see is right here. Again, like I showed you before, here's where you can get the ad-supported free pattern, and here is where you can get the ad-free PDF that you have to pay for. All right, okay, and like I said, I need to delete this. This post isn't done yet because it is done now. I just had to finish adding in all of the video tutorials. This post is free for you guys to see. You know, you can see this is an ad for, well, there's an ad on this video, but this video is a Jessie at Home ad. And there are other ads happening. They don't show up as often when I'm the one on here. So some of these blank place spaces are where there would be ads if it wasn't me who was on here. All right. They don't show up when I look at it. They just give me the empty spaces because I don't get paid for looking at my own ads. That's something they do so that we don't just like keep going to our own sites and going to our own ads and clicking on them and trying to get ourselves more money. So if it were you guys, there would be ads in these big spaces. And when you watch the videos, there will be ads on the videos as well. You know, most people are used to that by now. It's the way that it's the way that they are. So that's all there for those of you who are either free members of Patreon or aren't members of Patreon at all. And if you are a paid member of Patreon, a paid patron, then in that area, in Patreon, you'll be able to see where you can get all of that information without ads. Dory is over on Instagram and says, greetings and salutations. Hi, Dory. I love that introduction. All right, we are going to bounce back to here and remove the banners and go back to comments in case anybody else has anything to say here. All right, so this was actually the February crochet along, okay? And I said last week, and I'm just going to reiterate it for anybody who missed us last week, that this month we have an easier, shorter pattern. And then next month we have another super short pattern. Okay, next month's pattern is super short and easy. Okay, and that way everybody will have time to get really caught up, including me. All right, because I am like, right now I'm still working on the March crochet along. I got a little excited about the crochet alongs and didn't really get ahead of things, like, you know, would have been really the professional awesome thing to do. Sorry. But I am making sure that you get all the TLC you need for each pattern, and that those of you who are patrons are still getting the one free crochet along pattern every month. So, you know, this pattern is obviously free on the internet, but the PDF you would normally have to pay for. If you're a patron, you get the PDF for free, and you also get the bonus printables for free. Okay. The March pattern is what was originally named the Purple Passion purse. So I'm going to pull that up over here so you can kind of see it on Jessie at Home. So we're going to go ahead and type in Purple Passion. Oops, look at that. I keep having issues with typing. Purple Passion, that should be enough. We're going to search it. I'm going to hit enter, or else it's not going to do anything. And then give it a second. Here we go. Purple Passion purse. There we go. So this is the March crochet along, okay? And it is pretty simple, all right? It was for a holiday stash down with underground crafters. And you may have noticed that Crochet Foundry is always a sponsor whenever Underground Crafter has a crochet along, or anything like that, where they need sponsors where you give, to give gifts, giveaway gifts. So I pretty much, Marie, who runs Underground Crafter, is a dear friend of mine for years and years and years. And so whenever she's doing something like that, I like to support her. Her site is amazing, and just, yeah, I'm a huge fan of her. In addition to being, in addition to her being a dear friend, I love her site and everything she does. So we often do we do giveaways and stuff with her. So here is the Purple Passion. Originally, the original pattern, which was in like, yeah, the end of 2018, was only in one size. And so I am adjusting this to be, to have three different sizes. Let me pop back over here. So there's the little picture of this, and I'm going to pop back over, let's see, I'm going to take off this banner. I always forget that you have to actually remove the banner. It doesn't just go away on its own when you turn off the banner screen. Monique says she loves this bag, so do I. I think Monique really loves the purple version. You can see that I am starting on a new version here because I wanted to make some video tutorials as well. So here I'm doing it in other colors. That's why I decided, you know what, I'm just going to call it the Passion Bag because it doesn't have to be in shades of purple. Okay, so here I have this one going on that is in this like teal blue and I guess chartreuse and eggplant. So this is the medium size, the second size, which is the original size. And then what you can do is I'm also in the process of adjusting it so that there's two other sizes. The smallest size is going to be thinner, about 4 inches across. So it'll be good for like a cell phone. And if you want to put in maybe, credit cards, some cash, whatever, that'll all fit nicely in there. And then the third size is going to be a little bit wider. Okay, so you can maybe put like some notebooks or something in there. You won't be able to put a ton of stuff in there because even though it's going to be wider and taller, there's no bottom to this bag. Okay, it's essentially a tube that's been joined at the bottom. Okay, so but it'll still be bigger so you can get more stuff in it, more like a messenger bag. And they do have the flaps. I will write the pattern for the flap for all three sizes. I would think most of us making the smallest size, like I don't think I would put the flap on there, but who knows? Maybe I would. I don't know. It goes on. It's added. It's sewn on at the end, so it's super easy to just not do the flap if you don't want the flap. Any of the sizes, it's super easy to omit the flap if you don't want the flap. So that's all going to be on here. There is the pattern as it's currently written is available free on for patrons, and the pattern as it's currently written is available free ad supported over here on Jessie at Home. Okay, and I'm going to, by the end of this week, I should have the adjustments for all three sizes instead of just the two into the pattern so that, it'll be adjusted on here. It'll be adjusted in Patreon, and I'll make sure to send you guys all a notice saying, hey, the adjusted PDF, the finished PDF is in there now, so go ahead and grab it. And I will also make a post for the Purple Passion, for the Passion Purse, the same way that I did for this, with the tips and tutorials. So I'll have the video tutorials and also all the tips on how to add the extras. For example, on this, these borders, the border on the front, the border on the bottom, and the hood, those are optional. Okay. So I have the instructions on how to do that. And, for the border, I give you the first like 2 rows because the first row is how to essentially attach it. The second row is then the repeat row. And then I tell you to make it as wide as you want. And I do suggest that you make at least 3 rows and that you end on a right side row. It just looks nicer when you end on a right side row. And so odd number rows happen to be the right side rows. For this, I made more than 3 rows. This very first row is actually this gray is the very first row, because when you're doing something like this, guys, and you're putting a border, when you're putting a border on something, um, even if you want a contrasting color for the border, if you're working along the side, I always suggest the first round or row of the border be the same color as the majority of the color of whatever the border is going on to. So in this case, the majority is this gray color. So the very first row of the border I did in the gray, because that very first row, it's often a little bit messy. So if you look, especially I think if we look at where the orange, where it connects to the orange here, you can see it's not, because the gray doesn't totally cover the orange, right? Doesn't totally cover the green, all of that. But since most of this is gray, if we use the gray, then we get that border first row on there in a way that's a little bit more camouflaged, I guess. And then I started doing 2 rows each of my colors. And since you should have an odd number of rows, it worked really nicely that my very first row was just a single row of the gray, and then I did 2 rows of each color. And that way at the end of each set of 2 rows, it was still an odd number of rows, right? So that's what I did for this. And I had it this many rows because I wanted 1 stripe of each color to kind of tie the whole cape together. All right. So there we go. There's a little more tips for you. Oh, well, thank you very much, Monica, for joining a Patreon patron. Yes, Monique loves the purple one. Nana, oh, hello, Nana. I don't believe we've heard from you before. Thank you very much. Yes, Monique is also excited that you are now a patron. Yeah, the faux fur. Okay, like I said, this is called Fable Fur, and it's from crochet.com, and it is so cozy. That's one thing I need to add into the tips post, probably when I delete that paragraph I missed, and I fix FI to say IF. I fix how I spell if. I need to add in the links for the 2 kinds of yarn that I used for these, and also let you know how much yarn I used for this version, because this Fable Fur from crochet.com, it's so soft, guys. Oh my goodness, it is. It's very soft. It's very cozy. I love it. I absolutely love it. And not everybody has the faux fur yarns anymore. I have a feeling people are going to start carrying them again, because faux fur is definitely having a moment uh, in fashion. So I've been, looking at all the fashion trends for fall and winter coming, in the future, and faux fur is big, like specifically faux fur, not fur, faux fur. Is there a trick to see your stitches? Well, let me tell you, the first trick is that this is only 1 row right here, okay? And then this is only 2 rows. I do not see my stitches, I feel my stitches. And with this yarn, I find that feeling my stitches is much easier. I misplaced my freaking Furry Friends book by, oh my God, I love her so much. Ashley Parker, the Furry Friends book by Ashley Parker, published by Search Press. I misplaced my copy. It's here somewhere. I need to find it. But she gives in that book so many tips on crocheting with fur, and this is one of the ones that she uses. This is one of the yarns that she uses. Okay, so if you really want help with that, you want here. Let's see what happens if we pop over here, and we can go with furry. Oops. Well, why did it not start type? Because I'm probably on a different screen with my mouse. All right. Furry Friends Ashley Parker. Let's see. I thought I hit enter, but maybe I didn't. Here we go. So, all right, you can find it on Amazon. You can find it from Penguin. Okay, and then a lot of these are going to be reviews of them. Yeah, here we go. Search Press. This is actually the publisher. Okay, but for some reason I ended up on here. If I click on America, but look at that. You can go to the UK site. You know what? I mean, she is Canadian. So, but let's see. Does it show up? I would think you could still find it on the US site. You can. Okay. So there you go. You can find it on the US site or on the UK site, which is awesome. We have one of those is UK and the other one is, that's UK. What's this one? Australia. Okay. So they have a UK customer, an Australian customer. This is the United States customer. So you decide wherever your shipping and prices are going to work best for you. You can do that from SearchPress. And since SearchPress is the actual publisher of this, I would think you would probably get the best price from SearchPress. I'm not going to promise that, but it would be my guess. But since they're the publisher, there isn't a middleman at this point, because you can see right there it says SearchPress. If you know your eyes are such that you can see that. So not only are there absolutely adorable patterns in here, but they're all little fun little animals and backpacks and all sorts of nifty stuff. She gives you really wonderful tips on how to crochet with the faux fur yarn, and she does use, one of the faux fur yarns she uses is this Fable Fur from crochet.com, or Knit Picks, or We Crochet, however you want to call them, it's all the same thing. All right, and Ashley is a phenomenal pattern designer and pattern writer, and they had a really good tech editor. So you are good to go with this. Let's see, let me pop back now to this screen. Oh, I need to remember we have our sit and stitch at 1 o'clock today. Don't want to be late for that. Is there a trick to do Is the trick to do no more than 2 rows? The trick is, this is the best trick where I only did 1 row, so I didn't have to worry about working into it. However, like I said, with the second one, with this one where I did 2 rows, I could feel, you can feel where each stitch is, and it works with this yarn. I definitely can feel it, okay? Because I can feel that the thread, the inner yarn that the fur is attached to, right? I can feel the vertical, the 2 loops across the top. I can distinctly feel the 2 loops at the top. And then as I move my finger over, I can feel the post of the next stitch. And then I can feel the 2 loops of the next one. So it's very much learning how to crochet like a blind person crochets. You feel. And so that is how I do it. Like I said, Ashley has great techniques and everything. So, go ahead. That book is going to rock. Yay, Monica. Sarah's glad you've joined us here. The only faux fur yarn you have to go with will not go with your tape. Okay. Find that, yes, with blanket and fuzzy yarns, you just have to feel your stitches. Exactly. And also, guys, one of the reasons I really like the Fable Fur is the fur seems to be more sturdy, more stable, more sturdily attached to the yarn. Like, you can frog this and you don't end up with like a puff of fur everywhere if you frog this, okay? It does, I don't like frogging it, but it does frog reluctantly, but it does do it. You can do it if you need to, and it doesn't shed like mad like some of the others, so it makes me happy. Oh, thank you, Lady Crochet Manuela, just subscribed. Monica ordered the book. It's really, if you need, yeah, if you ever want to crochet with fur, I highly recommend it. Yay! Everybody's so happy to have more friends. Monica says it's four. Oh, okay. So Monica, the book, it might, I guess it is a little less expensive over on Amazon. Well, it would depend probably also on shipping. I do recommend check check the sites and the shipping. Obviously, if you're an Amazon Prime member and you get free shipping, if it's $2 cheaper on Amazon and you're getting free shipping, that's awesome. But yeah, the site, the actual publisher is Search Press, so check there and then check other sites and see where you can get the best deal, especially if you have to have it shipped someplace that where if it has to be shipped internationally. So from Search Press, it ships from the U.S., from Australia, or from the U.K. Amazon, it would depend. You would have to check which Amazon. Monica obviously checked the USA Amazon, but check the Amazon in your area and see there. You may just find whatever your shipping is going to. The cost of the book and the shipping combined are going to do the best for you. Lady Crochet also says that I'm gonna go with she, since Lady Crochet. Lady Crochet also says that she feels the stitches. Yeah, everybody's agreeing. You feel your stitches. You love the shawl pin or latch that I use. But yes, this is it's a cloak clasp is what I searched when I bought it. I bought a bunch of them quite a few years ago when I had a bunch of medieval cloaks to make, and this was just the last one I had hanging around. I probably bought them like 5 or so years ago. So I don't know. I'm gonna guess that I probably bought them from Amazon. You can also find though really nice closures on crochet.com. Also sometimes has some really nice closures. You can check there too. Let's see. Have I ever used the Lion? Oh, you have some of the Lion brand faux fur. Have I ever used it? It's been a long time. And I'm trying to think. Like I remember the fuzzy one that it wasn't like the one that was called like Fun Fur. I used the Fun Fur and didn't have a problem with it. But I feel like there was another one that seemed more like faux fur. Like the Fun Fur was just like fuzzy yarn, not so much, not fuzzy yarn, but it didn't look like faux fur. It didn't, I don't know how to explain it. Oh, okay, Sarah, thank you. There is a different one. Go for faux. That's right. Okay, so hold on. We'll get through there. I haven't used Go for Faux. I have used Fun Fur from years and years ago, and I remember it being fine. I think it might have shed a little bit, but I don't think they even carry that anymore. We're celebrating people. Let's see. Made several items with fur. Yes. It is pretty. Cloak clasp at oh, yeah, guys, run to Joann's, see what they've got. It's all, going to be marked down and they're not getting more. But one of the things I did hear is like, right now they just hired a whole bunch of people for their like inventory people because they're emptying out all the warehouses. So check with your Joann. You can always just give them a call and find out if they're still getting shipments in because the warehouses are all emptying out. So I think it was Sarah was just saying that actually, because Sarah, yeah, it was Sarah who just said that hers they were done with their yarn, but they still were constantly getting they were still every once in a while getting shipments of fabric. So check with your Joann's and find out what they're still getting shipments of or whatever. You never know. And Sarah's confirmed that it's called Lion Brand Go for Faux. Hasn't found the right project for it. I have not used Lion Brand Go for Faux, so I cannot speak to it. If anybody's used it and wants to say, go ahead. My guess is it's probably going to be very similar to the crochet.com table for like this. So there we go. And we got through all of the comments. I have Buzz. Monica, Mr. Joanne Fun, you don't have one near you. Yeah, well, nobody's going to pretty soon. So, all right, let's see. I think we're pretty good here. So yeah, so with the this crochet along, we are doing the 3 different sizes. You guys can choose which size. I do have in the PDF that you can get on Patreon, it does give you the starting numbers for all 3 sizes. So you can get started right away, no matter which size you want to make. And by the end of the week, I hope to have the rest of the pattern for each of the other 2 sizes completed as well. There's just going to be a little bit of adjustments, obviously, for the flap. And that's really about it. So it should be pretty easy for me to get that up there. I've already started the video tutorials, all of that. So I'm getting this one all complete. And then next month, March, April, is another really simple. It's going to be like a water bottle holder, I figure, because, you know, summer's starting to come along. So it's just going to be a water bottle sling. Super simple. And some of the little bonus tutorials and stuff that I'm going to do around with that are going to be like attaching how to, you know, attaching like clips or whatever to it so that you can hang your little phone, you can hang your phone off of it, various things you can do to make that water bottle sling a little more functional with like other things other than just the water bottle, and maybe even some decorative stuff as well. Of course, you know, how to adjust it for different sizes and all of that sort of stuff. So that will be fun, easy, super customizable for whatever size you need. And a really, it's like the most basic one that I have because I wanted it to be something that like you're all going. I did it. I wrote that pattern when we went to visit my parents when they were living in Italy, and like I wanted to make sure everybody had a water bottle holder. So like I just could bang them out really quickly. And even now, like when I go places, we go places on vacation or whatever, there'll be somebody who doesn't have a water bottle holder or whatever, and I always have yarn and crochet hooks with me, so I can whip one of these out super quick. And especially if I just have like some ribbon or something, so I don't have to make the strap. Right? Or you can do like the braided strap, like I have, like these bags have, that are a lot quicker to make than the crochet straps. So yeah, that's a nice and quick one. And then that would be April. May, June, and July are each going to actually have, those 3 months are each going to have 2 suggested patterns. There'll be one quick, easy one, and the other one is going to be a skirt. It just so happens that May, June, no, not May, June, July, June, July, August. So I think all the way through May, we're going to have, I'm almost positive it's June, July, and August where I have a skirt for each one of those months, just because of the way that we adjusted some of the patterns that were originally going into Crochet Foundry. I originally had to make an extra pattern for each of those months, and they all ended up being skirts, because those were things that were lacking in the magazines. But since we're condensing into seasonal issues now instead of monthly, which is going to start with our summer issue in May, I had more patterns than I needed at that point. So the patterns that I was designing for the magazines are now going to become the crochet along patterns. You'll see. As each month happens, you'll see. I'm doing my best to make sure that there are really nice crochet along patterns. But I also want to be respectful of the amount of time that is in 1 month, right? So we'll see how we do that. You know, maybe, who knows? I still have to get a little creative with it. Maybe what I'll do is I'll take those 3 skirt patterns and do like every other month. And then that way it's like 1 month is a skirt pattern and the next month is a really simple one. And that way, if the skirt pattern takes you 2 months, it's okay. I'll figure it all out, guys. So sorry. I'm like thinking as I'm talking, which is probably really annoying. It is getting really close to 1 o'clock, and today is the day that our live, which is open to everybody today, happens at 1 o'clock. It's actually starting to get warm in here. And in that tips and tutorials, guys, I show you how to attach a ribbon to the inside of your neck. Okay, you can see I just did this really quick and easy. Okay, like, yes, I have a degree in this, and I could have done it like so you can't even see that it's been sewn in or whatever, but I did it the way I just did it, like really easy so that you guys can see how to do it. And the reason why this is in here is because the cape can start to get heavy, especially if it's long, right? And if your neck is being pulled in simply by the ribbing, okay, which I have here, if the cape is really heavy, it'll stretch that ribbing. And suddenly the neck of your cape will be like halfway down your back. And if you're wearing the hood, it's like hanging off of your hood, you know, it's just not as nice looking anymore because it's being stretched out by the weight of the cape. So by putting this non-stretchable ribbon on the inside of the neck, the cape can't pull the neck. All right, the neck is going to hang here. It's only going to be able to fall so far before it's going to stop, because obviously it's restricted by the size of the by the ribbon. Okay, so the cape itself may pull, but it's not going to pull the neck of your piece down if you have that in there. And that is in the tips and tutorials, and it's also in the video. Okay, so there we go. So these are things that I'm adding to whenever I use a pattern for crochet along that may not have been in the pattern originally, but when I use it for a crochet along, I add that information in there. And that's all available on Jessie at Home, which is an ad-supported site. So if you are not a paid patron, you can go to Jessie at Home and find that stuff on there. If you are a paid patron, you get the PDF for free on Patreon, only for the month of the CAL. If the CAL's running 2 months, if we're doing like we're doing now, where this one is kind of running over 2 months with an additional one on the second month, as long as we're kind of working on the CAL, it's still available. And then, but once we're done with the CAL, then the PDF will no longer be free on Crochet Foundry. On the Patreon, but the bonus printables will always be free for patrons. We have a lot of patterns that have bonus printables, and I'm getting those all onto Patreon for the patrons for free, and those stay there. And of course, and the tutorials and everything stay there as well. It's just the actual PDF of the pattern that's only free for the course of the actual crochet along. All right, I think we're good, and I should go so that we can have our live sit and stitch. So that is starting on Zoom in 6 minutes. I hope to see you guys there. All right, you can find the link for that if you just go to Crochet Foundry under Community. There's a events calendar under Community where there should be a link for today, and there's also, I believe, a sit and stitch link that under there that should have links for today, but it's definitely on the events calendar. All right, so I hope to see you all there. Thank you so much for joining us, and it looks like I have gotten all of the comments, so I'm going to get going. Bye-bye. Thanks.